Hello and welcome to episode 21 of Daryl Show Your Work. And this episode is going to be a relatively short video, but we'll be going over IP tables, which is a form of a firewall that's built in to the Linux platform. So I'm going to be getting started here. And the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pull a set of IP table rules from a TXT file that I have. So in order to do that, first thing I'm going to do is I need to sudo, so I'll make sure I have the right privileges in order to execute this command, -c, um, single quote, IP tables, restore, right, -v, right, less than, then I'm going to tell it the file that I want to pull this from, which is iptable-rules.txt, all right, and they end my single quote here. I'm gonna hit enter. All right. So the first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start this up by typing route, and it's going to give me just a general list of my of the rules that I have that it pulled out from this from that text file there. So I'm gonna hit route. All right. So we have to give it a few seconds for it to fully load up here. Okay, so we are all the way here at the bottom. So it looks like that we're in the 192.168.10 slash 24. That's our CIDR address. That's where we're located. We're part of that network. All right, and this address tells us that this dot zero at the end, and we're in interface network interface ENS32. So that's the interface that we'll be working in here. All right. So the next thing that I'm going to do is this is next command. I'm sorry, it's going to actually show the rules. This is just showing us our current interfaces and our current CIDR address and what network and everything that we'll be that we'll be working in. So this actually is going to display my my IP tables. Oops, sorry about that. All right, then IP tables. All right, -s. This is going to bring up my rules. Okay. All right. So the first thing we'll notice here are the input and the forward rules. So basically, they're going to allow all packet traffic coming in inside of the network. But if we look right here, our output chain, it blocks any packet initiated by the firewall host, which is us, from being routed. This restricts user access to only trusted online resources, making it easier to control traffic and identify threats. All right, so basically, by default, it's going to drop any traffic that we try to go to any type of site or try to make any sort of connection to any other machine using different ports. It's going to drop that traffic. However, this next rule it basically is telling us that, hey, but it will allow traffic going out to any established rule. All right, and so those established rules are below here. So basically, basically we're saying okay, any by default, any traffic going to any other IP address or machine, we're going to drop that traffic. However, any sort of established or other established rule we're going to adhere to. So we're going to allow traffic to ports 443 going out, and also to traffic's 53 going out. So meaning that this is going to allow us to go to secure sites. So secure. So as you know, port 443 is HTTPS, and then port 53 is our dynamic naming service. So the combination of those two ports, it being allowed, excuse me, the IP table allowing us to connect to those two ports is what's going to allow us to connect to secure websites. All right, like I said, this is like I said before in regards to the overall output, the way we have that configured, it just makes it easier for us to ensure that we're connecting to trusted web sites only. So that's why you don't see like a port 80 on here, because that is not a secured or a encrypted a port. All right, so moving on, uh, just to kind of further talk about the IP tables here, was IP table rules are checked from top to bottom, first matching the packet state and then inspecting headers for the specified destination ports. If the packet doesn't match, it gets dropped. Chain policies are checked last. All right, so again, by default, it's going to check it from top to bottom. So it's going to already accept anything that's coming in, and forward anything that's accept anything that's being forwarded. However, anything that's coming in, I mean that's going out, automatically gets dropped. However, for the exception of port 443 and 53, which will allow us to connect to those HTTPS websites. All right. All right, so then the next thing that I'm going to do now, we're going to go into a more detailed list of rules within each of these, within each of these that we see here. All right, so in order for me to do that, oops, all right, sorry, my lab is just acting really wonky today. It's kind of doing its own thing. All right, do sudo iptables, and this time instead of a dash s, I'm gonna do a dash capital L. All right. So we can see a more detailed breakdown of things. So again, this shows us that this shows us kind of same information we're looking at up here, except it breaks it down where it says it goes into the state related established, and then it goes into what those established rules are, which is again TCP destination port, HTTPS, UDP destination port 53. This says domain, but again, DNS is domain name service. All right. So to move on a little bit here. So let's say we wanted to have the ability to ping devices, and we wanted to set a rule for that. All right. So in order to do so, we would have to do sudo iptables dash lowercase v dash capital A output, telling it what type of rule this is going to be for our IP table dash P, and then I'm gonna tell it the protocol, which is lowercase ICMP, because that is the protocol that we use to ping other devices, underscore J, and then all caps accept. So meaning that we're basically telling the um the IP table that, hey, we want you to allow the allow the output or the outflow of ICMP package from our home network. All right, so I'm going to hit accept. All right, so it's letting us know that this is now a new rule. So all right, so we can also check that by going in our history, going to sudo iptables.l. Let's see if it's there. All right, so you can see here at the bottom that new rule has been set. So let's test this out. So I'm going to do an nmap scan on another machine in our network, and basically nmap, in order for it to connect to other hosts, it has to send out an ICMP packet to see if that host is indeed up, in order for it to begin the scanning of specific ports. So since we're dealing with port 53 and 443, we're going to specify that here in our nmap scan. So I'm going to say nmap 192, 168, 1, and we're going to aim for device 100 on this network. And then I'm going to specify port, 53, comma, and then 443. So that's how, with nmap, if we want to scan multiple ports at once, that's how we do that. We just put -p, and right next to it, write the first port, and then comma, no space, and then the next port, and so on and so on, if we wanted to specify particular ports. All right, so I'm gonna hit enter to begin that scan. All right, so indeed, we got some information back. It looks like port 53 is being filtered on that particular server, and port 443 is open. All right, so the next thing we want to do, let's see that. So we know that nmap works. Another way we could test this is let's just do a ping, a general ping on this, just to make sure that our ICMP packets are going out. All right, so I'm gonna aim at that same address, and I'm going to specify my packet counts, because if you don't, when you're pinging, it's just going to keep sending out ICMP packets and indefinitely, and you'll have to basically manually stop the process. So I'm going to cut the process off at four ICMP packets being sent out to that machine. All right, looks like we got positive, or we got positive feedback from it. Looks like 4 of those packets were received, none was dropped. All right, so it looks like our ICMP rule does work. All right, so we're gonna test this even further. Let's see, we want to test basically, let's test the rule um, with port 443, and seeing that does our IP table or firewall, does it truly allow us to go to those secure websites that's supposed to allow us to go to. So I'm going to open up Firefox here, and I'm going to pop in um, our 192.168.1.100 address, and I'm going to see HTTPS, because remember we're using port 443 / 192.168 168.1.100. All right, and then I'm going to put a colon. I'm going to specify port 443. All right, let's see what happens. All right, that's a good sign. So this is what happens when there's not when there's either no or an expired security certificate See, invalid security certificate. So for the sake of the lab, we're just going to keep accept the risk and keep going. All right, and this is just the basic web page is telling us, hey, it works. All right, so now we know that that particular rule indeed works as far as allowing us to get to um, a secured sites, or at least sites that have that use the 443 protocol. All right, now the next thing we're going to attempt to do, close out this browser, we're going to attempt to add a trace route rule to this. And what trace route does is trace route sends out packets to other devices within a network as a means to try to map out a network. And so it sends out packets, and as those packets make it to different hops to different network devices. And so it sends out, basically it comes back with a time to live, as we can see here, these TTLs, a time to live packet. And basically the more hops it goes, we know how many network devices are in between those hops, and from that we can map out a network and see how many routers or how many switches, or those intermittent network devices, how many of those are between each hop. All right, so it's a network mapping utility. So we're going to set this up to allow us to be able to do that, and let's see if it works. All right, so in order to do so, I'm gonna say sudo iptables-a output.m. I'm establish the state. All right, so the first thing what I'm doing here, the first thing we have to do when allowing writing this type of rule is we have to first add a rule that allows the routing of new connections. So we have to basically tell it to, hey, first allow a new connection, and then we could create another rule saying which connection to allow. All right, so right state new. All right, dash J, all caps, accept. All right, so again, this is just me writing a new rule to allow that allows the routing of a new connection. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to write the actual rule that's going to allow the trace route. So which is sudo iptables dash a output. All right, then I'm gonna say dash p udp. All right, destination port 53 dash J, accept. All right, and this is the actual rule um that's going to allow the trace route. All right. All right, so now let's test out that trace route to see if it indeed works. So if I'm gonna say trace route, all right, then I'm gonna aim the packet at our 100 address here. All right, so that was pretty quick. So basically, it only took one hop for us to get to that next device. So we know that device is pretty much next door to us. Um, all right, so that's trace route. So we added that rule, and let's check on the status of how we're doing on our rules here. All right, so let's look at that list. All right, so we see here where we added the ICMP rule, and we see where we added where we told it to add a new rule for routing, and then this is the actual trace route rule right under it. All right. So the next thing we're going to do is we are going to allow HTTPSs and DNS replies based on outgoing requests. So we're going to allow um, particular incoming packets based upon devices replying back to us as far as the traffic that we're being allowed to send out from HTTPS and DNS. All right. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to write a similar. Let me go up a bit. So I'm going to write a similar rule to this one, except where we had to tell it to, hey, allow package based upon a related or established rule. This time I'm gonna do the inverse of that, and I'm gonna say, hey, allow input based on a related or established rule, which I'm gonna write that for HTTP, and then I'm gonna write another one similar to what we did for trace route, except I'm gonna write it this time for DNS to, hey, allow new connections, allow new connections based upon new connections, because DNS starts new connections when it goes to websites, and it starts doing the dynamic name and service and starts to try to associate those IP addresses with the website names. All right, so I'm going to start writing that HTTP rule here. So sudo IP tables dash a input dash m state dash state, and I'm gonna write related, comma, no space, established, space dash j, lowercase, and then all caps, except. All right, so let me just check my syntax here. I believe I should be good to go. And this is what's going to allow all incoming HTTPS responses that the web server would reply with that are related to the outgoing request initiated by us. All right. All right. So it looked like it took that, which is good. All right. So the next thing we're going to write this DNS rule, which is to allow new connections since DNS requests initiate new requests. All right. So I'm going to write sudo iptables dash a input dash m state, and then new dash j, all caps, except. All right, just checking my syntax here to make sure we're good. And it looks like it, yeah, I forgot my dash here. All right. Yeah, I forgot actually the whole statement. All right. Or we should be good to go. All right. All right. And then what we want to do after this is we want to basically write another output rule that drops all communications for all other ports. We want to write that along with these other new rules here. So I'm gonna do sudo iptables -p output drop. All right, again, this drops all communications with all other ports other than 443 and 53. All right. So I'm going to list those out again for us just to see what that looks like. All right, let's see. Okay, so up, if you go up, instead we're not looking down again, but we're looking actually up. And here we can see the new input um rules that we wrote here as far as what we're allowing as far as inwards, as far as related and established rules, which are down here, and also as far as new connections. So DNS is allowed to make those new connections as far as any sort of packets coming in responding to our packets that we sent out from our DNS port to it. So that's basically it as far as IP tables. That's the basic gist of it. They're just another form of firewalls that's built into Linux, and again, you can adjust them as far as the type of as far as what traffic you want directed to what ports, how much traffic you want to go and to where. So please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, show your work as well. Until next time, take care of yourself and God bless.